Good day, everyone. Welcome to the very first episode of Talk of the Town with Mayor Williams. I've got my teal ribbon on for Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month. This monthly podcast serves as another way for me to share some things that are going on in the city with you, the resident of Natchitoches. I will often use this platform to provide you with the most up-to-date information concerning critical projects that are underway in Natchitoches. Let's not waste any time. I want to jump right in it. A very important project that we've initiated is the project designed to improve the city's Asian water system. For the most part, the construction of plant number 4, which will enable us to produce a few million more gallons of water per day, is going well. We've had some equipment delays, but that project is on target to be completed in January of 2026. As soon as the construction crews make plant number 4 operational, we will begin the necessary remodel of plant number 3. Just for context, plant number 3 was built in 1995 and has not had any significant renovations in 30 years of its existence. This is a much needed project. Let's stay in the vein of discussing water projects. We have 2 major waterline ventures that are going on right now or are soon to be started. The first is a $700,000 enhancement in the Breedertown community. The second waterline replacement, which is yet to officially start but soon to start, is an $800,000 improvement on South Williams Avenue. These types of projects are crucial to the quality of life of our residents because such initiatives directly address discolored water. For clarity's sake, the best way we can address this problem is to change out those underground water lines, and it's very expensive. That makes waterline replacements challenging, but it's also necessary that we budget each year and think of ways to finance more of these changeouts. Still in the water department, we're working on something you probably never heard of called a clear well. The clear well is a huge structure that's used to hold 1 million gallons of water at a time. Y'all, this project is really important. We've got a sewer project known as the sludge thickener, and that project is just a maintenance project, but it's really important that we keep our sewer plant very operational. So we're looking forward to that getting completed very soon. We have a lot of activity, as you can see, going on with our utility department, but we also have a lot of activity going on in terms of street rehabilitation. 2 separate street projects are underway at this point. 4 are being repaired through the CDBG program, JCW, Brahma Drive, Myrtle Drive, and Weeder Drive. 2 are being repaired using local city funds. A significant portion of East 5th and Woodyard Drive. I also want to note that we've received capital outlay dollars. We've got those dollars coming this year to reconstruct 2-line street in downtown Natchitoches and a portion of St. Maurice Lane. So a lot of activity happening with our streets. I'm happy to report that within the next few months, we will go out for bid, as we say, for the construction of a brand new state-of-the-art fire station on University Parkway. This project is mostly funded through a state program, as I mentioned earlier, known as Capital Outlay. We have $1.8 million coming from the state for this construction project. As we typically do, we will provide you all with updates on our social media accounts. The closure of International Paper had and continues to have a real impact on our economy. There are some changes in the paper market that have led to this and so many other closures of IP facilities throughout America. In response to this major loss, I initiated what's known as a targeted industry analysis. The result of this analysis is to put the city and parish in the position to draw industry here that can be successful. Thus far, we've had some very productive sessions, and I'm looking forward to the positive impact this effort will have in Natchitoches Parish. Let's turn our attention for a little while to the RAISE grant. The city received an award of over $17 million in August of 2022. The process of getting the agreement signed and other delays have us where we are. The good news is we are now in design phase for the RAISE grant. Baton Rouge firm Gresham Smith won the bid to design the RAISE grant project for us. If everything goes well, construction should start in January of 2027. We hope to speed that up a bit. Safe Streets for All is a smaller grant win and potentially will have a great impact on our city nonetheless. It's valued at $1.1 million and will allow us to implement temporary structures such as speed tables and access control. We submitted a well-written proposal in the spring that, if we win, will allow us to make those improvements permanent. As usual, we will keep you all informed about any grant announcements. Undoubtedly, many of you have heard that the city has a new power supplier. For multiple decades, CLECO sold the city power so we could power our residents' homes. CLECO is easing itself from this business, and now the city is buying power from LIPA. For reasons beyond the city's control, emergence of data centers being one and the effects of supply and demand being another, we all are subject to higher costs. I have been in conversation with John Coleman, whose firm works to mitigate these costs so that we could implement strategies that would help us to deal with the rising costs of utilities for our residents. So we're going to keep you all abreast of any details that come from that. We have a special guest coming on with us today in just a bit. We're going to bring him on, and but before we do, I want you to watch this new and powerful movement that encourages all people here to support our brick and mortar businesses. Our businesses have a lot to offer, and I'll see you on the other side of this commercial.
Looking for birthday gifts? Did you ask? Looking for Christmas gifts? Did you ask? Or just everyday household necessities? Just ask. This week, on October 3rd, we're launching Ask Natchitoches First. It's an online storefront for all registered businesses in the city of Natchitoches, where each business can post deals that they want to offer, they can post job postings, and all sorts of things related to their business. This is a dynamic program, or dare I say movement, that's going to compel our residents and visitors to support our local businesses here in Natchitoches. There are several key benefits of this dynamic movement called Ask Natchitoches First. One is that it supports jobs right here in the city of Natchitoches. Secondly, it's going to support the increase of sales taxes here. We put it in roads and other infrastructure to improve our city. One critical or great benefit of Ask Natchitoches First is you get to get those products. They're right here in the city of Natchitoches. You get your hands on them a lot quicker. We're holding 3 critical meetings virtually this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, all at 6 p.m. to explain more to you about this dynamic program. Before you go to any other online site, remember to ask Natchitoches first.
All right, we're back here from this side of this commercial look, and I just want to encourage everyone to support our businesses. Mark this date in your calendar, October the 3rd, coming up in just a couple weeks. That's a day we're going to launch Ask Natchitoches First. Want to make sure all of our businesses look at the directory, make sure you are listed there, and you're going to be able to offer our residents deals, not just during Christmas time, but all year round. I'm so excited about that because we know by shopping local, it's supporting those businesses who are physically here in Natchitoches. All right, welcome back to Talk of the Town with Mayor Williams. I'm excited and thrilled to have as our first guest of this podcast, Dr. Grant Eloi. Dr. Eloi, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. I know we've already been through it, but I didn't know initially that we were being filmed, but we are, and so I'm glad I got so dressed up for it.
Yeah, look, we just, like they say in church, come as you are type of thing.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so a few questions we have for you, Dr. Eloi, and maybe a couple follow-ups there. But, before we dive into the numbers, tell us what originally drew you to education and ultimately to serving in Natchitoches Parish.
Yeah, so my parents were both educators. My mom was a special ed teacher. Like, I have memories of, I was probably first or second grade going with her while she was getting her degree, being on a college campus, and so that always kind of drew me to it. Then my dad was a late to education person in terms of his career. He was first a hotel manager, but then he became a teacher, and so I always kind of had that vibe in the family. And I kind of rebelled against it because, I wanted to make more money, honestly. But then, the calling was a true calling, so I eventually gave into it. And it's just always kind of a passion of mine. Not sure where it came from except from my parents. And I was in Rapides Parish as an educator, teacher, coach, assistant principal. And then I went to work for the state in a special school district which serves students who were incarcerated or in mental health facilities. And I did that for 5 years, but there's a time limit on how long you can do a job like that. It was just, in many respects, for lack of a better term, depressing on a daily basis. And so one day I saw Natchitoches Parish school superintendent, and I had all my credentials, so I just, on a whim, applied for it. Didn't think much of it until a month later when I got a call that I'd have an interview. And then I've told this a lot, but I went for the interview and didn't really have a whole lot of anxiety about it because that night my wife and I were going to be driving to Disney World with the kids, and so I was just like, I'll do an interview, and if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't, and the rest is kind of history.
5 years later, you're still here with us.
Yeah.
All right, great. So look, just a little bit more about that special school district. It's in Pineville and it's run by the state.
So it's actually statewide. They just have facilities all around, and I was called a regional coordinator, which meant I was a principal, but I covered multiple programs. The programs I covered in Rapides Parish, actually Rapides Avoyelles Parish, I had the Bunkie Juvenile Detention Center. I had the Special Education Center in Alexandria, Renaissance Home for Youth, which is a juvenile center in Alexandria, also Pinecrest Developmental Center, and then we had a few students also at Central State Hospital. Kids who were either, again, incarcerated or we actually had a drug rehab at one point, but then the majority were either incarcerated or in a developmental center. So very, very interesting in terms of compared to traditional education.
Wow, yeah, that is something that I know we had spoken about it a little bit, but well, kudos to you for that type of work. I mean, you mentioned kind of just having that shelf life or getting burnt out by it. So it takes a special person to not only do education, but then to do that type of work within education. I think is really remarkable.
Well, my wife says I'm special, so.
Well, look, all right, so next thing I want to ask, the district has shown, and this is really why I wanted to bring you on, because we've been really impressed by the improvement. You all have shown some improvement in core subjects on the state's standardized test. To what do you attribute that success that you all have had the last 5 years?
Yeah, so I mean, first and foremost, I'm going to just blanketly say it's our staff and students and what they've done. But the structures behind what we've led them to do is really the story there, and it's the NIET practices, the TAP practices, which some of those things are we have master teachers in every school that are providing consistent professional development for our teachers on a weekly basis. Not only that, we also have mentor teachers in every school that there is a career ladder in the TAP system where you are a career teacher, that's a teacher in the classroom, and then you can move into the mentor teacher role and still assist teachers while still being in the classroom. And then you can move into the master teacher role, which is a situation where you're leading cluster, which is our collaboration time. You're also supporting your mentor teachers and other teachers. And then you have executive master teacher. And so traditionally back in the day, it was either you're going to be a teacher or you're going to be a principal, and there wasn't a whole lot of in between. But TAP allows you to have that career ladder, so there's an ability for a teacher to still maintain being a teacher but move up in a career outside of administration. Also with TAP, performance pay is in there, so it encourages teachers to improve their practice from a monetary standpoint. And then they have a rubric that we adhere to, and it pushes best practices, and it's all about the idea that every person in the system has to improve their practice. No one is above that. In fact, I get coached as a superintendent by a former superintendent through the same system. So, if the superintendent is willing to get coached and improve his practice, then that should be the case for all employees. And so what we've seen teaching practice in Natchitoches improve every year. And what happens when teacher practice improves, you have student outcomes improve. So we've gone from when we first arrived here, our proficiency rate for students in the district was 27%. We have grown to 39%, which we're still not satisfied with, because that still means 61% of kids aren't achieving on grade level.
Right.
But at the same time, that puts us 4% away from being a top 10 district for proficiency, and it makes us the largest district for overall growth by far in the past 4 years in the entire state of Louisiana.
Whoa, and that's how many districts?
So if you count some of these the little ISDs we have in the city districts, I think we have 69 or 70 LEAs.
Wow. So we have how do you say that, the highest growth of any of them in the state?
We've had more proficiency growth than any other district in the state over the course of the past 4 years. I think we started number 45 in the state out of those 69 or 70 districts, and now we're number 27, and we do project to improve even further than that 27 when data comes out in November.
Wow, that's unbelievable. And like I said, we've been impressed with it. When I came to the city, it was, obviously challenges with crime and other things, but in terms of attracting industry, which is what everybody wants to do, right? Jobs. But they would say, hey, we got to do something about the schools, and that box seems to be. Now, obviously, you said it's a work in progress. We're not done improving, but I mean, we could model and I guess I'd say market to prospective industry. Hey, we have,
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest
growth.
One of the biggest things that we can market to outside industry is the fact that we no longer have any F or D schools. Every school in the district is an A, B, or C, and that's huge, especially for outside industry looking to come in. And then also our national recognition, whether it's been the Blue Ribbon, the NIT recognition. We're about to be featured in the Boston Globe in 2 weeks, and we were also featured by Harvard and Stanford for the Educator Reporter recovery scorecard, and that there's only 9 districts in the entire nation.
Those are some pretty big names. Wow.
Yeah,
pretty great American institutions.
We were excited about it. In fact, we thought it was a scam at first, but they ended up being legitimate.
Yeah, especially Boston Globe. I mean, I know you spoke with me, but just speak a little bit, Dr. Eloi, about this model that you all have. You mentioned NIET, you mentioned TAP, you mentioned master teacher, mentor teacher. Is that model unique to Natchitoches, or other people using it? Kind of speak to that a little bit, and because I know it plays into the success we've had recently.
So Lowell Milken is a venture philanthropist. He's a billionaire, and he started the National Institute for Excellence in Teaching over 25 years ago, I believe. And so it is nationwide. There are states that utilize it more. It's been in Louisiana for probably close to 20 years, if not more. DeSoto Parish and Ascension Parish are probably the 2 parishes that are most well known for utilizing it. Ascension is not a full TAP district. I think they're 50% TAP. DeSoto is a full TAP district, and they're well known because that's where Dr. Brumley came through, and they went from a D to an A during their time with NIT. And so we've done a lot of the same things Ascension and DeSoto have done, and when you do those things correctly and you do a fidelity in the TAP system, you do see growth. There's no way you can't if you do it the way they have researched how to do it. And so now with Dr. Brumley as the state superintendent, you're seeing NIET practices statewide. Now we are still one of only 2 districts that are full TAP districts, us and DeSoto, but you cannot go to a district. I don't think there's a district in the state that's not utilizing some portion of the NIET best practices now.
Well, no, that's unbelievable, great. And I mean, y'all help to be a part of making it more mainstream now in Louisiana.
I don't know if
obviously DeSoto Ascension, but
yeah.
I mean, that's
we're just happy to be a part of it, and we're happy to celebrate the success of our folks. So
yeah. For those listening who might not be familiar, what do these scores actually reflect about student learning and school performance?
Yeah, so the current accountability system, which we're actually out of that accountability system now, because this year, when scores are reported next November, we'll have a new accountability system. When they're reported this current November, we'll be on the old system. So the old system, I'll be honest with you, is really convoluted. You got a certain amount of points for an advanced, certain amount of points for a basic, certain amount of points for a mastery, and there was a lot of formulas. It was hard for a layman out in the community to say, okay, what does it mean to be an A? What does it mean to be a B? So on and so forth. The new system is going to be really about 3 things. student performance. So that's going to just be what percentage of students in that school are proficient. So when they look at a score, they'll know that that score correlates to the percentage of kids who are proficient in that content in that school. So that's super simple. Then you have grow. We know that some students don't come to us ready to learn, so they may already be behind when they start. So the state has a measure that says the number of students who grew to the standard that the state expects them to, which is a half of a level a year. A half of a level being from like low basic to high basic, or high basic to low mastery.
Right.
So you'll have a percentage on how many kids are achieving, then you'll have a percentage on how many kids are growing, and then the third piece is thrive, which is, that's only for the high schools. That's how many kids are adding value to their diploma. So it's our graduation rate, it's our ACT score, it's our career and technical education stuff, all that piece. It's a lot more simple than it was before, but it's also a ton more rigorous than it was before. So you're going to see across the state, when scores come out a year from this November, you're going to see districts across the state see a slight decline, not because anything changed on their end, but because the state changed the measuring stick. But we're, not that we're excited to see lesser scores, but we know that as long as we still grow, we're going to be all right.
Right. Interesting. So that rigor does it come from the content, the way they're testing, or is that half, what you said, half a...
It's really more in the measuring stick. So it used to be, a few years back, you got a bunch of points for being a basic, and then they reduced it down to 80. And
right.
Now
the basics were like...
Yeah.
Started to be... when we were growing up, we thought basic was, hey, that's pretty good, But
mastery actually means you're on grade level. And so all they're giving, they're not saying, oh, extra points for advanced or extra less points for this. They're just saying, what percentage of kids are on or above grade level? And then similar for ACT, it's not, we used to get more points if you got a 36, or now it's, do you have a 20? If you don't have a 20, you don't count in that percentage. So different things like that. They've just made the rigor of the measuring tool, that's where the rigor is coming in.
Gotcha. And thanks for explaining that.
No worries.
Are there ways local leaders or even businesses can better partner with the school system to support students? Anything you got there?
Yeah, there's actually a huge thing. I think the post went out yesterday. Any businesses, and when I say businesses, any entities, the city could do this. Our students now, when they get a credential at the high school level, we have to have a paid internship for these students.
I think I saw this post.
Yeah. So anyone who wants a high school senior to have an internship as long as it's a paid internship, and in some cases, like I think y'all already hire some kids during the summer and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Those can already count. We just need to be aware of them. So we've worked with the chamber to really get this message out there, and we're going to have I think a website that tells all about it and tells the different opportunities and things for kids. But yeah, that's going to be the big thing, where private industry has been asking for a while for us to prepare students better for the workforce. Well, now we're saying, okay, we're going to do our part, but we need y'all to meet us halfway to help us with these internships. And there's a lot of things with it like that the kids have to do, but as long as a business is willing to meet us halfway on that, we're going to provide them with the kids to be able to work in their facility. I mean, they can be selling snow cones, they can be at Chick-fil-A, or they can be at the hospital doing more technical things. We are open to partnering with close to anyone on making sure our kids see these internships through.
And I certainly want to know more about the program, but as you've seen with we call it the summer youth program, just it's easy to call it that, but we have a willingness to maybe have some positions open in the city if it works out. Now, obviously, I got to always talk to finance.
Yeah.
I run it through them, but I love that idea, that concept where we're giving these students an opportunity to learn about a career they may go in or they may not, but it's still the basic. Some things are gonna be across profession.
Yeah, and some of it's about just how to be a good employee.
Right.
It may not even be about city hall or school board. It may be about, hey, this is how you act as an employee and what's expected of you. And those are the soft skills that everyone needs.
Well, look, I'll just say many organizations in the city, but NPSB has one of the best social media presence, I would say. So I always follow anything that they have there on social media. So that's a really good program. I'll do some more looking at that. What's next for Natchitoches Parish Schools? You talked about one great program. Don't know if there's anything else. Are there any major initiatives or goals you're excited about for the coming year?
Yeah, so it's actually been a 2-year-long thing, but our attendance and truancy efforts have been really great. We went from 14 absences per student on average to 10 absences per student on average this past year. We're hoping to improve that even more, maybe get in the 8s or 9s.
Wow.
And then also, we're really pushing student behavior. We put in some pretty strict policies early on about fighting, and I think people were a little nervous about that, but so far they're paying dividends. The amount of fights we've seen in schools so far this year, far lower than they were in previous years. So there's that. We have a bond issue coming up for the Province Hall area that's actually going to reduce a lot of people's tax bill by combining this new district, and they're looking to expand at that school, so we're excited about that. And then, just continuing to do what we've been doing, but refining that process as we go. For the past 4 years, we've been on all these top lists, and our biggest goal is to maintain that, because it gets harder. The more you improve, the harder it is to continue that success, and that's our biggest commitment, is providing the education system that our students in our community deserve. So that's always going to be number one on our priority list.
Look, and that's a noble goal. And being in education, I certainly understand what you're saying in terms of maintaining and staying where you need to be. Look, another question I'd like to ask you, and just kind of really pretty much end with this question, but what's been your proudest moment as a superintendent?
So there's the big ones that are like when we got rid of all D schools, that was a big one. I mean, I remember crying when the state called me that we were number one for proficiency growth, I think in 22-23. But then there's been some smaller things that were more on a personal level. When you get an email from a teacher who had an aha moment with, when we first put this out there, it was during COVID. And we're telling teachers, hey, you're wearing masks, but you're having to do cluster, and this is new, and all that change. And so there's been a few private moments where teachers have come to me and said, I'm a better teacher now because of this system. And what they don't realize is my most difficult year of being a superintendent was the year we put all this in place. And I'm sure for them it was difficult too. But to see that kind of come full circle, where the frustration has turned into success for individuals on a personal level and professional level, that's been really cool. And just to know that when we talk about 12% increase in proficiency, that's an entire school that went from off grade level to on grade level. That's about 500 kids. So that type of stuff, when you put it in those terms, I mean, it's cool. And I know sometimes people think that we're maybe too positive, or we brag too much, but or that we're too focused on data. But the data represents individual kids, and
Exactly.
It's a cool job. As stressful as it can be and everything, it's I can't think of a profession that's more rewarding.
Yeah, no, and I agree with you. Now, you said something. Did you say there are no D schools anymore?
Correct.
I heard you there were no F schools, and that meaning that there were some D schools, but you're saying there are no more D schools. That's different.
As of today, there are no D nor are there any F schools.
Wow,
in Natchitoches First.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, that is a great accomplishment. I remember the thing about the F schools, no F schools, but how long has that been?
So it was 2 years ago we got rid of all F schools, and then last year we got rid of all D schools, and then 3 years ago we moved from the C to the B. So every year has been kind of a different celebration. The first one was the C to the B, then no Fs, then.
Yeah, because I know y'all came by and y'all did these little banners on the different schools and things like that. So, no, I think you have to, what you're doing is you have to tell your story. I don't see it as bragging. I think you got to, it's reality. So you got to be able to tell that story. We've really enjoyed having Dr. Eloi on. Before we go, I do like to hold him for a little bit longer, and that's the, of course, Dr. Eloi, he may have Kendrick Lamar on his playlist. He may have little Kanye West or Ye, whatever he call himself, Taylor Swift. I don't know. Can a guy be a Swiftie? I don't know.
No, I mean, I have 2 daughters, so yeah.
Okay,
Of course you can.
you can be a Swiftie. Look, it was really cool for the Jazz Fest. They had a Taylor Swift.
My daughters, yeah.
Look, what do you call them? Look, impersonator, maybe.
Yeah, I guess that's the
And
tribute band.
Tribute band. Okay, so I didn't go, but I heard she did a good job.
Yeah.
Based on what I heard. But I only bring it up to say, because I learned about Dr. Eloi a couple years ago, that he and his family, like my family, he's a big fan of Hamilton. Big fan of Hamilton. So we're going to put Dr. Eloi on the spot. He did not get any forewarning on this. We're going to play a little game real quick to end this conversation. Rapid fire, fill in the blank. Let's see how much he really knows about Hamilton. See if he's really listening to Hamilton on his road trips. So my first one, Dr. Eloi, you just fill in the blank. I'm not throwing away my
shot.
Okay. Look at him. He got it. All right. Awesome. All right. What about this? I'm just like my country. I'm young, scrappy, and
hungry.
2 for 2. He's getting it. All right. Now, I think that was not too bad for you. What about this one? There's a part where they're saying, history has its blank on me.
Eyes?
History has its eyes. All right. He didn't sound as confident, but he got it right. All right. I like this part here. It says, you'll be back. This is when the king comes out. He comes out several times. He says, you'll be back. Soon you'll
see.
Yeah. Look at him say, you'll remember
what you mean to me.
Yeah. Okay. You got to look at it. All right. Now, I think this is when his wife comes in. But she says, look around. How lucky you are to be alive right
now.
All right. And this one is not too bad. Let's see if we can get it. I want to be in the room where it
happens.
Oh, man, this guy really listens to it. And 2 more. My name is Alexander Hamilton, and there's a million things I haven't done, but just you
wait.
Just you wait. Look at her. Just you wait. All right. And then lastly, at the end, y'all, and if you haven't watched Hamilton, you got to do it. I've seen it live. Have you seen it live?
We've been talking about it, but the tickets are ridiculous.
Well, we went to New York to see it, but of course it wasn't the original cast, but it still was really good. And we actually caught it in San Antonio, so it was nearby. We took the kids to San Antonio, and but this one, how it ends. Can you get this, Dr. Eloi? It goes, who lives, who dies, who tells your
story.
Look, Dr. Eloi, come on, y'all give Dr. Eloi a hand out there. It's been great, Dr. Eloi, having you on. You're a great sport, and look, you all are doing a great work. We know you're at the top, but there's so many other people who are supporting the vision there. Happy to have you on as our first guest on Talk of the Town. So please follow them on the Natchitoches Parish School Board Facebook page. I don't know if you have Instagram as well, but
we do. Yeah.
All right. Anything you'd like to say to close it out?
Thanks for having me. And
all right.
Thanks for proving that I'm a Hamilton fan.
All right. He did a great job with that. He got 100%, got all of them correct. All right. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, brother.